I spoke to Duncan Gallant, who's the president of the New Brunswick Student Alliance, and he said this is the province's best budget when it comes to student issues. He is particularly pleased with something which will see student loans capped at $26,000. Everything after that will be grants.
So will these changes be effective immediately?
Yes, they will, Bailey. All students graduating as soon as this May will be able to qualify for the student loan changes. And Gallant said he's already trying to get the word out.
Is anyone unhappy with the government's plan?
Yeah, most definitely, Bailey. Well, Gallant said he is thrilled with the changes to the student loan system. He said he was quite disappointed with the fact that only students who finish their degrees in 4 years will be able to qualify for this relief. He says that a lot of students need a lot more time than 4 years to decide what they want to do and to get their way through university, and he says this provision just isn't fair to those students. I also spoke to representatives from the Canadian Federation of Students, which represents the UNB Student Union for Graduate Students, and they weren't too happy with it either. They basically said that the money would be better spent lowering tuition than making changes to the student loan system. New Brunswick currently has the second highest average tuition in Canada.
And is there anything else in this budget university students should know about?
Yeah, there are a few more changes. The government has extended the tuition freeze, which they actually rolled out in last year's budget, so that'll go for another year at least. And they've also set up a $3 million fund for grants for students that wouldn't be able to otherwise attend university. All these things do come at a bit of a cost, though. The $2,000 grant to first-year students that Sean Graham implemented when he first came into power has been cut to pay for these changes.
That was Chris Fox reporting.
It was March 21st, 1960, in South Africa, when police opened fire on a peaceful demonstration against apartheid, killing 69 people. Since then, the world has dedicated that day to eliminating racism. Fredericton celebrates that day too. Concert, food, and even balloons. And they all had one purpose: to bring together different cultures living in Fredericton.
I would not be truthful if I said that there are no incidents of racial discrimination in Fredericton. This is why an event like this helps, so that sometimes people don't understand what they don't know.
The Fredericton Multicultural Association has organized the event annually for several years. Hundreds of residents, students, volunteers, and children came to the fair to learn about different cultures from around the world.
In the Middle Ages, it was believed that the mentally ill were possessed by demons. Throughout the years, they have been ridiculed, chased, even killed. But even today, in the 21st century, the stigma around mental illness remains. Damira Devletrova reports on how the stigma affects people's lives.
Good afternoon, Reach Center. Hi, how are you, Jim? No, Jim, Kelly's not here right now.
Meet Rob Degginger. In many ways, he's like anyone else. He knows that. But he also knows he is different. And because he is different, he struggles to be understood.
They thought I was bipolar for a long time. And then they discovered that I had more symptoms of schizophrenia. And I have obsessive compulsive disorder too, which is why I live in a group home. So if you'll follow me.
Rob shows around the Reach Center, where the Canadian Mental Health Association offers educational training to its members. It's also one of the few places where Rob loves to spend his time.
So I tend to go to places where there's very little stigma.
Stigma. For Rob, it means few friends, special friends, who don't treat differently.
And at Reach, you don't get judged here. Basically, almost everybody that comes here as a student has problems, but we work together.
But outside in the society, things are very different.
And some people find that out about you, and they get like scared away. Because, I mean, you know, on TV shows, like schizophrenics are viewed as scary monsters. You know, like just bad people.
And of course they saw the spectacle of a very large man in sunglasses with this enormous knife stabbing a much younger man in the neck.
Stories like this about killers, offenders, and people who commit crimes help create the popular stereotype of people who have mental illness.
And it seems still in this day that the mentally ill are fair game to be ridiculed.
Eric Stevenson is fed up with media and Hollywood movies portraying people with mental conditions as dangerous.
You can walk into Blockbuster, Jumbo Video, go to horror films section, drama films, and you're going to see American Psycho, you're going to see all kinds of films in that genre where this mentally ill, psychotic person is running around with a chainsaw hacking people up. Facts is that the mentally ill are more likely to be victims than they are to victimize somebody.
Stevenson is a volunteer at Friends and Family of Mentally Ill. Mental illness touched his whole family. For him, it's unfair. The media that's supposed to help to fight the stigma does the opposite, making it even worse.
Is the focus of your report, is it the person is schizophrenic, or is that he allegedly committed a crime? Which one is more important?
But stigma is far deeper in society. Patricia Price, the executive director of New Brunswick Community Residences, says the stigma exists even inside the agency that works with mentally ill people.
I can remember, for example, when I first started working here, a lot of the clients that I deal with have a diagnosis of schizophrenia, and I remember hearing a staff refer to one of the clients as lazy during a staff meeting, and I was appalled because one of the biggest symptoms of schizophrenia is apathy or lack of motivation. So I became aware of the stigma that can exist even within an agency.
The province recently commissioned a report by Judge Michael McKee on how to combat the stigma of mental illness. It was released this month and urges government action. Negative attitudes and misperceptions subject people with mental illness to discrimination, rudeness, and rejection, denying them equal participation in family life, social networks, and employment. 2 years ago, the government has created the Mental Health Commission, which one of the priorities is to fight stigma. However, till nowadays there is neither provincial nor national campaign that addresses the issue of stigma. Even though it's clear that the education can play an important role, it's also willingness of every individual in society to be aware and to care. But Mark Hennick wants to shed light on the problem of stigma.
It's really unfair to treat people with a mental illness differently than you would treat anybody else.
Hennick, the student union president at St. Thomas University, was diagnosed with depression at 14.
At first that wasn't a good feeling. You feel really estranged and alienated by people, and then that doesn't help your illness any because you already felt like that anyway.
Several attempts of suicide and several hospitalizations.
It's a feeling of really profound anxiety and hopelessness that comes over you.
It's a struggle where only personal strength, will, and hope matters. Hennick doesn't hide his condition, but speaks up for those like him.
That process of learning how to have a certain personal strength really has been helpful to me today. It's also helped me to be more outspoken about mental illness and to stand up for people who are sometimes uncomfortable speaking up for themselves. So.
Stigma is a problem of changing people's minds and misconceptions, myth and stereotypes.
There is this gut-wrenching fear that you're going to get attacked.
Fear. Why do you think people are scared?
Because they don't know. People are afraid of the unknown.
But all of this touch and affect many lives.
I'm not going to be 100% every day, or even any day. But today is a good day, and I'm thankful for good days.
This is Damira Davletyarova reporting for Stur Journalism, Fredericton.